G'day viewers, it's Michael here again and welcome back to Single Racer. And now firstly I just want to touch on why I'm doing this particular video and not the video that I had planned, which now will come later in the week. And that's because we had an absolutely shocking weekend here in Australia. At least in Victoria it was stinking hot, but not only hot, shockingly windy, which caused a major bushfire both here and in New South Wales here in Australia. And luckily no lives were lost, but there were at least 70 to 100 houses that were lost. And although it didn't affect me other than being upset watching the news, it just meant that the big video that I had planned, it's a real beauty. And for any of you that are creators and edit and render videos, it's kind of, imagine just it's one of your bigger ones that you might attempt. So I really wanted to do it justice, and there was no way I was going to do it justice when it was 33 degrees and just way too hot to render the video. Now the second reason, as you can see here by this beautiful Lotus 49, was that the Sunday Sub Showdown seemed to be a real fizzer too. Just from my point of view, no, it was great racing, but what seemed to happen was Alex seemed to appear, and my guess is that he came on to set up the server, because one thing I didn't realise, I wonder if anyone else who raced on in the Sunday Sub Showdown realised that I didn't even have to enter the password. Normally you enter the password, and what he might have done is just left it open for everyone to race. But my guess, and I haven't heard from Alex since yesterday, but my guess is that with the two bankings, there's it's like running over ruts. If you've ever run over a bridge where you go boop, 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 and it might have been just too much for his direct drive wheel. That's my guess. I got no idea, but if I had to make a guess at this stage, it's possible that he's come on to practice or practiced on his own time and realised that it's going to be such a huge force on his direct drive wheel that he decided to let the race happen but not enter it himself. That's just purely my guess. And now for me as well, it was a bit of a disaster, and that's just the way it is. But I unfortunately got knocked out in both races. I did really well. I qualified first or second in every race that we had. You know, it's like a cycle. If you haven't raced online before, it's just a cycle where you go practice, qualifying and then race, and it just continues on, and you can enter as many races as you see fit. And I qualified always first or second, but I got kind of punted out through no fault of anyone. You know, I love that saying. There's the old NASCAR movie that stars Tom Cruise, and I think there's a line in it that goes something like, rubbing is racing. And you know, we're all beginners at some point. To me, I don't care. I wasn't actually knocked out by a beginner, but I crashed into a beginner. But you don't race in my opinion, you don't race in Alex's Sunday Sub Showdowns unless you're prepared for that. He's trying to cater for all standards of driving skill, and you can't just expect to drive clean and not have an incident. It's just not the way it's designed. To me, that should be iRacing. That's what iRacing is, and that's why they have the tiers of ability or rating or whatever it's called. I've never been on iRacing, but in a game like Assetto Corsa, you've got to expect a little bit of rubbing. And unfortunately also I was a little worried about that with the Lotus 49. It was initially my suggestion to Alex, so I don't know if he did that because I suggested it or just he wanted to do it anyway. But when you have Mike Smith over at Sim Racing 604 would know, if you got the interlocking wheels of a Formula 1 car or something like that, anything can happen. And the Lotus 49 is so unstable to begin with, it just makes for a fantastic event. but not necessarily a good race. So this is what I want to show you now, is not the actual race, because in fact the race itself was a bit of a disaster. But I did some practice leading up to it, and my knowledge of that track is terrific, and it's very interesting that I consider Nordschleife my greatest track, as you know, as far as what times I can do on it. And it's interesting that if you know a track absolutely intimately, every single corner exactly, and how to treat it, and you know the track so well that you can jump into different cars even though you haven't driven the car, and adjust the car around how well you know the track. It's amazing how fast you can be even if you've got an unfamiliar car. So that's kind of what I want to show you here. Is in practice I did a top 10 RSR time, and that was purely because of how well I knew the track. Now I know the road course actually better. I don't drive the banked course as much, which is the full course. But what I want to do is take you into the car with me, show you how I did it, what gears I was using, and just to show you how much fun it can be, even though it's a really wild ride in this car. So if you feel like it, come along for a ride with me in the Lotus 49, and put on your seatbelt, hang on to your hat. So this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. I'll say see ya, and let's go hot lapping. Okay folks, so as we come up to my third lap of the Monza 66 Classic full course, let me try for a top 10 hot lap, and let me show you how it's, at least how I achieve it. Now, a bit of housekeeping is that I try and get the gearing to be around 310 is kind of the speed that I feel is the maximum, and that's what I try and aim for, and also low fuel to maximise the hot lap, as opposed to having enough fuel for a race and then being a bit too slow because of the weight of the fuel. So as we come on now onto the straight for this third lap, I'll run you through it. Now, a tip that I have is, rather than focusing and looking down on the gear and maybe distracting yourself, if you watch the right arm, the car changes gear when it hits the red line. So now I look for the barrier here, I change down to fourth, I trail brake into the corner, wait, and then maximise my speed out, slow in, fast out. That helps me get maximum speed coming out of the corner. Again here, I come in too hot sometimes, so slow down early, turn in early, change down to second to balance the car, but then I change up to third and I hold third here. It's just a matter of getting this angle right, that's it. Maximum speed coming out of the corner, beautiful. Now watch the arm there. You can look at the track, and when you see the arm go, that's when you change gear. It does it automatically, and it's a helpful guide to tell you when to turn a corner. Now I've taken this well, I've got speed coming out again, but this is the one that gives me most trouble. I change down to second, so down to fourth, down to third, and down to second, just to balance me up and turn in early to get that turn in tight, rather than sliding off and maximising the speed again. It just helps me, but it can, by changing down to second, cause wheel spin, so you've got to be careful of that. So now, for me personally, I find these banks pretty easy. I just centre it and just hold on tight, literally. The wheel's going crazy at this point, but I just hold on tight, and there's the stupid bloody pausing that the internet always gives me. And
So basically now, if you look down, see, I'll try and maximise my speed there, try and get to 310, and that's the best speed that I've found that gives me the balance between fast corners and fast straights. So as we come onto the straight now, hopefully I'm aiming for a 2:19. If I can get a 2:19, that's a top 10 time. So will we get a 2:19 as we cross the line? Yes. And there we go. Oh. And there's a lap of the Monza Classic 66 course. I hope you like it. There could be other races. Well, there isn't really, but I'll just park it off the track. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll catch you next time. This is Michael signing out for Single Racer. Catch you later and see ya.